On the agenda tonight, we're going to be taking a look at Jason Mraz, and he's going to be performing I Won't Give Up. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So this request came through with a question, and the question was, is this performance fully live? Is it pre-recorded? Are the vocals live? Are the vocals edited in any way from a pitch perspective? All that kind of stuff. So we're going to jump into it in detail, as we always do. And there's going to be a link in the description below to the original video if you want to watch it the whole way through without me interrupting it, because I will be jumping into this. So we'll have a listen and see how Jason and the band get on.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. There's so much they hold.
I'm going to jump in here already because I could have jumped in within the first 10 or 15 seconds because there's so much to point out. When I'm analysing something looking for authenticity and, potential backing tracks and playing to a click track and edited vocals, all that kind of thing, this immediately doesn't seem like that because, first of all, the sound here is so crisp, and normally you might think, well, surely if it sounds too good, then it's got to be manipulated in some way. But this is coming from Guitar Center, the channel, and they have lots of different performances. And of course, because I'm looking at this, I think it wouldn't be prudent to just look at one performance and judge it on that. I've watched lots of Guitar Center videos for this analysis video because I like to do a bit of prep and research to get an idea of the overall sound that they usually have. And just for live performances, Guitar Center as a channel, their mixing is on a different level. And I'm talking about lots of different artists that I've seen live performances of. It is almost release quality. Actually, it is release quality. You could buy the live performances on a CD and it would stand up to a lot of studio produced tracks. So just the level of production on this is next level. So obviously I have to take that into consideration, that just because it sounds crisp and it sounds, spot on from a mix perspective, it doesn't mean that it's fake. It means that it's just really well mixed and well produced. The other thing just to throw in here is that we've got one microphone. And normally, if I'm watching a performance and you've got multiple vocals going on, multiple vocalists, and they're all at the same level, sometimes you can listen to that and say, well, you're never going to get that crisp sound from all of the vocalists, especially when they're miles away from the microphone and, they're pretending to sing effectively. But here, they are gathered around the mic. There are places in the performance where I think, they seem to be quite far away. Would you get this crisp response from the condenser mic? We don't have a pop filter either to stop the air from hitting the microphone. So you could argue in that way that maybe you should hear some kind of, air or diffusion of air, or even, plosives hitting the microphone because it's not protected. But then you could weigh that against, well, they're quite far away from the mic, as I am here, and if you don't directly push the air into the mic, like then I said push, so I'm hitting a P, which at the microphone, push, you will hear it hit the microphone. But if you direct your vocal away from it ever so slightly, that's why I don't have a pop filter here. So there's that argument. So I'm not writing this off immediately as not being a performance that is fully live, it's just a really crisp sound. Something that I'm not too sure about is that this performance, for me, I don't think would have been really loud because it's acoustic guitar, it's stripped back, and I think they all would be able to hear their voices. So we've got in-ear monitors going on here, by the way. This is what this wire is. So the other vocalists have got in-ear monitors to, I'm assuming, to hear their voices. But you could then also throw into that equation that, well, is it being used as a reference? Maybe they've done multiple takes and they're now keeping themselves in time with the previous takes so that the actions and the singing all match up. And I'm not saying that this is just one take. There are a lot of cuts, angle wise, but that could just be an artistic thing. So it could be all in one take, or it could be a few takes. It seems like there's a lot of, especially with other performances that I've seen, there's a hell of a lot of setup time that would be required for this. When you're looking at the lights and everything, I don't think it would make sense. Like the Beatles on the rooftop, they did multiple takes of every song and then cut together the best bits of all of those takes. So it wouldn't make sense to just do one take. If you've set it all up, you might as well do a few takes so that you've got, more to work with. And let me go through the instrumentation. As I said, we do get into details, but we can see just from a vocal perspective, talking about pitch correction, I don't think we've got that. We're flat of 440 hertz here. If anything has been pitch corrected, you're not going to be able to tell. And just from an artistic perspective, Jason has got this in his locker to be this accurate pitch-wise. If you've watched any of his performances, which I have, fully live performances, he is really accurate pitch-wise, and he sounds pitch perfect, but we can see on the pitch monitoring software that actually he's not hitting these lines. He's just got one of these voices that hits just the ideal frequency, and we know that the ideal frequency isn't always on these lines, which is A440 equal temperament. That's what these lines are calibrated to, so that's where the A of these will be the A4. So we'll just listen on. We'll look at the pitch monitoring software, but we'll listen to the instrumentation, the vocals.
It's like a watch.
I mean, this mic I've never used this microphone. It must be one of the most sensitive mics ever. The other question is, if the mic is this sensitive, would we get bleed from the acoustic guitar if they're playing their acoustic guitars? Because we've got two acoustic guitars going on here. So again, that's another thing to factor in. But if you are having the guitars up front, then maybe we would lose the bleeding on the microphone. I just want to get to a wider shot, even though we will go back and watch it from where we left it at. Here we go. So let's get rid of this, because you might be able to see we've got here, I mean, this is for, the upright bass and double bass that we've got. We can tell that has got a direct feed. So this microphone isn't picking up all of the instrumentation. So that's the other thing that might throw you off. If you think that everything's getting picked up by this mic and it's amazingly clear, we've got everything mic'd up. We've got as well the cello mic'd up, this acoustic guitar. You can just about see, I mean, in other angles, I think that's the lead there. So we are, straight in to what would be the mixer, and Jason straight in as well. And I'm just having a little look. I'm not sure whether the percussive element will be able to see anything coming off that, but that would have some kind of a mic on it as well to pick it up. So we've got an individual feed. There we go. There's the lead for that acoustic guitar. So we've got an individual feed for all of the instruments. So this now allows the mix to sound like this. So if we could see that the acoustic guitars weren't plugged in and the sound that we're getting was just from this mic, then absolutely it's not going to be live. But we know that we've now, at our mixing desk, and for the post-production of this performance, we know that we've got everything, so we can adjust the levels, as we see fit if we were mixing this. I feel like I'm just saying the other thing is, and the other thing is, and just to point out vocally about Jason's voice.
Night sky.
Night sky. He's got this variation in vibrato where sometimes it's really slow, and then it'll be a little bit faster, and you can tell that there's a lot of air in the sound. This is all about dynamics, this kind of performance, but I mean, Jason's songs are just a dynamic masterpiece as well as a melodic masterpiece, but especially performing it live and getting this kind of sound.
Or a beautiful sunrise, there's so much they hold. And just like them old stars.
So again, it's just something to notice about where Jason is in relation to the mic. He's really close to it here. So we're getting a really crisp sound. The other thing, and again, I've looked at this in detail, the other thing that you'll get with having one live mic is that generally it will give you an appreciation of the singers and where they're standing. So when you're listening to something that's been pre-recorded and then mimed to, often the voices will be panned individually in quite weird places. So then when you're looking at a performance and you're listening to singers sing, generally when they're singing, especially into a mic, which will be mono when you record it, everything's pretty much going to be down the middle. You might get a little bit of a spread with the voices, but if you're looking at, people singing into a microphone all around it together, and then you get a weird panning thing going on in lots of different places and voices that just don't make sense in the mix, then that's another reason to start questioning whether it's truly live or not. The vocals here, I would say, and I have checked in headphones, I'd say that they sound where they should be, where they're standing, and how the mic would respond to their voices. But again, just keeping an eye on location, where Jason's singing, he's pretty close to the mic here, so then we can adjust or judge as we go through for those changes in distance.
I see that you've come so far.
And here we have this movement off to the side that, sometimes it's borderline, you could say it's borderline almost singing into the side of the mic. And of course here you've now got a natural barrier to the microphone, so that there might be some change in sound there with the vocal.
Far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Well, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
And I mean, just listening to this mix, it is so pristine. And, I know that we do have a bang on E3 there and a bang on F sharp 3 here. But then we do drift a little bit. I'm more inclined to think that, like I said, Jason is really accurate live and just on his recordings, of course. So I don't think that this has been pitch corrected.
And when you're needing your space to do some navigating.
So now we've got these backing vocals coming in, and they are leaning into the mic, so at least we're getting that proximity, which now makes it possible for these vocals to be this clean.
I'll be here patiently waiting.
And the other thing is, just logistically, if you were trying to use pitch correction, for example, on all of these voices now, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, because if it is indeed just this one microphone, you can't separate one voice from the next when you're hit with 4 singers in front of one microphone. You need a separate feed for every vocalist. You need a separate mic to then pitch correct those vocals. So that can't be applied in this case. So we know, therefore, if what we're seeing is true, and I'm leaning towards that side of things, if what we're seeing is true, then these vocals are all just natural, and they just sound natural as well. They sound crisp and clear, considering that it's only one mic and they're having to rely on getting close to it. But yeah, it's something that you wouldn't be able to pitch correct this setup.
To see what you find, because even the stars, they burn, some even fall to the earth. We've got a lot to learn, God knows we're worth it. No,
And that's quite a nice example there, because that sounded great as a note, and we can see that it was actually sharp of the B3. So listen again. We'll have the phrase leading into it so that you can get an appreciation of how accurate this note sounds. But according to A440 tuning, it's not. He's missed the note. Have a listen. So that was sharp, but you can't tell because he's just hitting the best frequency with the instruments that are going on. So with stringed instruments, you will get a variation in pitch. They're not all going to perfectly maintain the tuning of a keyboard. So this is why, especially with strings, and I mean actual strings like violins and cello, double bass, all that kind of stuff, guitars, that natural drift in pitch that you will get due to lots of stringed instruments being added together, a great vocalist will hit the frequency that goes with all of that. They're not going to be hitting, looking at a graph trying to hit a line. So this is why it sounds perfect, because it is perfect for the sound, but it's technically not perfect to tuning at 440 hertz. So yeah.
no, I won't give up. I don't want.
I'm trying to spot the mic here. I don't think I'm going to be able to spot it because it's quite dark as well. But there's going to be a mic there somewhere. I know why this has been requested, because watching this, if you're not truly appreciating that we've got a direct feed to every instrument to mix, then you might think that, oh yeah, well this has got to be mimed or faked, because there's no way that this mic would pick up all of these instruments so clearly. But as I've pointed out, it's not what it looks like, but it is what it looks like, kind of thing.
I don't wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am.
Yeah, so here, I mean, they're kind of leaning into it a bit, and you can hear ever so slightly the harmonies are not 100% there. There's a variation in pitch there that you can make out.
And who I am.
Yeah, so there's 1 one note there that's ever so slightly flat. I mean, not that it's, I mean, actually it's picked it up here, that we're ever so slightly flat. So you can hear within the voices that one is, you know, I say you can hear, it doesn't make a difference because it sounds great. The harmonies are spot on. They sound great, but when you're analyzing them and, you know, putting the analytical hat on and now trying to hear each voice independently, then you can start to, or at least my ears can start to pick out the individual pitches of the voices. So yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing, again, that when you've got those voices, you can't pitch correct that almost ball of noise because you haven't got everybody's voices. With ears, you can pick them out. But sadly, the technology doesn't yet exist to pick them out with AI to distinguish one voice from the next.
I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. Still looking up, still looking up. Well, I won't give up. No, I'm not giving. God knows I'm tough. I am tough. I'm tough enough. I am loved. We've got a lot to learn. We are loved every day, and we're worth it. No, I won't give up on us.
And there we have it. So again, with those harmonies, you could hear that there was a definite variation in pitch. Nothing was being manipulated in any way. So I'm going to, for this particular video and request, say that I believe that this is fully live. But I do understand why people think it isn't. And even for the vocals where we could say that, well, positioning wise, again, how much of this voice is going to be picked up by the microphone? Because with condenser mics, what you have is, like on the mic that I've got here, it's front facing. When I say that, obviously that depends which way you turn it around. But there'll often be a mark on the microphone to tell you which side should be front facing, should be facing the vocalist, because the other side isn't designed to be sung into. It won't give you the same sound, the same clarity, the same tone. So when you're talking about this kind of thing, and you can say, well, how much of her voice is going to get picked up? If it is a really sensitive microphone, her voice is making a sound in the room, and therefore it will be in there somewhere, but it won't be as prominent as the other singers who are in front of the microphone. And with the vocals that we can hear, I would say that, again, we're not hearing a third voice really clearly or louder than anybody else. If anything, you could say, well, yes, the harmony lines that we're hearing, we can make out two really clearly, and the third one is kind of in there somewhere from what I've seen from Guitar Center, from what I can make out. And I have looked at this in extreme detail, more detail than I'm including in this video. I have studied camera angles and, you know, breathing. And I do this with all of the videos. When it's a specific question, I will give an answer as accurately as I can. And as much as people might think that, oh, this can't be live, from the detail that I have looked at it in, I think that this is fully live. It's just a great sound. And I mean, it'd be great to hear from someone at Guitar Center, maybe the producer, the sound guys that put this together, because it really is a next level mix that we're getting. But anyway, thank you guys for requesting this in detail look at this particular live performance. I hope that you have found it interesting and that it's hoped to answer a few questions that you might have had about this performance or maybe other performances that you've seen. But if you do have any other suggestions and requests, make sure to put them in the comments section below. As always, let me know what you guys think. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!